for Hicksville Exempted Village Schools.
Thank you, Madam President.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Carrier?
Here.
Mr. Levy?
Here.
Mr. Methvin?
Here.
Mr. Vetter?
Here.
And Mrs. Mazur.
Here. Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hello, everyone. That was my welcome. And then, guess who's up there, Mr. Schaefer? All right, Jeff, you ready?
I suppose.
Here we go.
Do I get a mic or I don't have
Sure
to?
do.
I don't really.
Have one, but
It's an elementary teacher who's willing to share something with you.
sharing is caring. Okay, so about 18 months ago, I found out that our current security system, our cameras, were on the Homeland Security's watch list, and then later they were put on the do not purchase list. So since that time, I've been looking for some grant opportunities to see about replacing that system. We're no longer able to buy replacement parts or cameras from this particular vendor. Currently, the DVR that stores all the footage actually does have one bad drive. It doesn't impact the functionality of the equipment. It just kind of limits the amount of storage that can be on there. We still have like a good 20 to 30 days of past footage, which is what we've typically had. But if more drives go bad, then that's really going to impact the camera system. But since we can no longer replace that and we can't really fix the DVR, we're kind of at a point right now where we're kind of stuck and we're going to have to replace the system. Earlier this year, the Ohio Attorney General put out a grant for security upgrades, which I applied for. It was a $40,000 grant, and one day Mike came to me, or he was asking, he's like, where'd this money come from? And I was like, oh, I applied for a grant. I didn't think we were going to be told about it until May. Well, they did it like way early. So we've been investigating. We've been looking at some systems. I got 3 quotes, and so we ended up going with actually our current Corson. So the current vendor had our current security company that we normally deal with gave us the best deal. So the total cost of the system from them installed, no maintenance. So some of the other ones, you know how it is, they have these maintenance, so they want you to pay a yearly fee to keep everything. This particular system, once it's installed, no yearly maintenance on it. So we don't have to pay an ongoing thing, which was kind of nice. So total cost of the system is around $137,000. And then with the grant, it takes the district's share down to about $97,000. And talking with Mike and stuff, and really, if we don't do it now, we're going to have to do it probably sooner rather than later, just because equipment's going to go bad, and since we can't replace it because of Homeland Security and the watch list that it's on. The new system will have at least 30 days of storage. It also has some AI functionality in it, so that it will have license plate readers. So I know we have license plate readers right now as cars come in, but that was like I think a 2-year program, and after that we have to pay for it. And so this will alleviate that. So this will have the license plate reader stuff built into it as well. Some of the cool things is, like, if we know somebody in a blue hoodie did something, we can say, look for all the males that have a blue hoodie on, and it'll pull up footage from there. We can also blur out faces of individuals. So if there's something that we have to turn over to the police department, we can blur out faces of students or staff who aren't part of the investigation. So that's kind of a nice feature. Everything that we export, unlike our current system, is time-stamped. It's stamped with who exported it, and it's admissible in court. So it does add another layer of above what we have currently. Also, in an emergency situation, we can provide pretty quick access to law enforcement or whoever would be monitoring the situation. It's very much a lot more user-friendly than our current system. I know the principals really have a love-hate relationship with the current system, and being able to find footage and exporting footage out of the new one is just, it's not the greatest. So it's really a much-needed system and much-needed upgrade for us, for especially the security of the district.
Do you have any idea what the cost avoidance is of our not having to pay for the license plate readers?
That I don't know. I didn't even know we had those until when we were doing the quote. It was like, oh, you have these. I said, oh, we do. And then I talked to Keith and Keith about it, but I'm not sure if they have what the cost of.
So Galen, I think I actually asked when I was down at Capitol, and I spoke with them, and for some reason, I want to say it was like $4,000 a year per camera or per license.
Okay.
And so I think we had two. So we have the grant for 2 years, and then after that,
So it'd be $8,000 a year if those numbers are right.
that seems to be what sticks in my head.
16.
Yeah, I think like 16, I thought.
Yeah.
So the original purchase of those readers, 90+% probably was covered by a grant. And then the school covered the other portion. But as far as how we'll move forward, that may be determined partly by the cost, and to see where that is once that 2-year period is up.
So there's potential cost avoidance there with
Yeah.
this.
Well, it ends at the end of
Well-
2 years, we have to decide if we want to keep it or not. If we want to keep it, I think it's 16,000 a year.
It actually is tying in with this new system, right?
No, those cameras they won't be a part of the system at all.
Okay.
That's why I was asking.
But the new ones, it sounds like, has the same capabilities as
Yes.
the ones that are out there. So we most likely would eliminate those two and not have that yearly expense.
Yeah, because otherwise we'd be having two services doing the same thing. So I know so the purchase of this, Corson wanted us to get on the purchase like as soon as we accepted their quote, and talking with Keith and Mike, we decided we're just going to wait till the next board meeting because that should still give them enough lead time. And say even if they weren't able to get it installed by first day of school, all the cameras are in the hallway. They've had to work around school before, so it's really honestly not that big of a deal. So we decided not to call a special meeting. We just waited till this one so that we could, once we get the approval from tonight, then we can let Corson know that we're good to go and they'll get everything ordered.
What's the longevity on something like that?
As long as this does not jump onto the do not buy list. The current system was 8 years, but then the DVR started going bad. We could have probably lived with the current cameras and just replaced the DVR, and with a different company. But then we run into licensing, because if we replace the DVR and use cameras that are not part of the DVR, then they start charging you for licensing cameras that aren't a part of that. So I hope longer than the 8 years that we've currently had the cameras, just because of where these cameras became such a security issue. Any other questions?
I don't think so. I do appreciate you having this list for us and seeing how
Actually, I do have
it's
one
different.
Question. Can you speak about the, in here we have a mention of some upgrades in the library, the LMC cameras and TVs?
Actually, the media system. So the 4 TVs that are in there came with the building. And then the Crestron system, I can't even tell you when that stopped working. I wasn't made aware of it until relatively recently. So to go into the LMC and to do any kind of presentation, we have to cart one of the portable TVs in there, then they connect, and then audio comes through the TV speaker, so it's just really not a very good system, plus then the TV's really low. So we're gonna replace those 4 TVs with 2, I think 85-inch TVs, and they're gonna go higher up so that you don't have heads and stuff in the way of the TV. It's also going to be tied into the sound system in the library. And then I saved a little bit of money, because the first quote we got, having a company come in to do kind of what they did in the Commons, it was just crazy. So Matt and I kind of sat down and were like, we can do this, because it's just 2 TVs. We can tie them in. We can set things on the desk. So we probably, I think the total cost was under $3,000. The bid that I got was for $25,000. So we saved a little bit of money by Matt and I kind of piecing this together, as opposed to having somebody come in and do the install. And then Eric and John will be putting the TVs up this summer. And then Matt and I will get everything tech-wise hooked up after that.
Thank you.
That's super. Thanks for saying
That's
this.
close to what I tried to explain earlier.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Any other comments or questions on this? Okay. You'll note that it is on our agenda tonight to approve. Okay. We have principal reports.
I can start. Yes Day was a success. I just wanted to give a shout out to Mrs. Montgomery for creating a perfect celebration for our hardworking students. And another shout out to our PTO for their financial help, making the day a success, and the parents who supplied lots of junk food for a very heavenly junk food table that concluded the day. It was a great, great day. I heard a lot of kids say that it was a 10-plus day. So speaking of hard work, our 3rd and 4th grade, well, all of our math and science scores have come out, and we're waiting for our ELA results to come out on Wednesday, but our 3rd graders scored a 92%. We had 1 perfect score, and then our 4th grade students scored a 97% this year with 3 perfect scores. So kudos to the teachers, the intervention specialists, the kiddos. I mean, they really worked hard, and it showed. And I guess just to go on to that as well, I guess I wanted to give a shout out and an update on our structured literacy team. They just completed their end of the year benchmarking. We use DIBELS. It's short timed assessments. And so I guess I just wanted to give you some percentages on that. Not including our current readiness kids, but our kindergarten students that are moving into the 1st grade, we have 92% of our students at or above benchmark. 1st grade, 89% at or above benchmark, and 2nd grade, 90% of those kiddos. I'm really excited to see our 3rd grade scores next year, because our 3rd grade, our 2nd grade class is the last class that has received the full systematic approach to the curriculum. So our 3rd grade scores are not as high, but it's because they missed all that foundation with that phonics program. So just a lot of great things going on in the elementary. Our current preschool students, and then I even reached out to the ones that aren't currently enrolled in our school, will be getting to meet their kindergarten teacher on Thursday. And then the rest of our kiddos will be meeting next year's teacher on the last day of school. So that's about it.
Okay, I have a bunch of thanks and congratulating to do. So I want to start by talking about our 6th grade shake and just thank all of our students and teachers for all the work that they did. They did just an unbelievable job. I want to thank all the judges for taking time out of their schedule to come in and make it a special event. I want to thank the Huber and the Fort Wayne Tin Caps for partnering with us and letting us use their facilities. It made it a really exciting shake this year. And then finally, I want to just say a big congratulations to our winner. This year's winner was Miss Sylvia Wang, and all of our students did a really good job, but Sylvia just really, really stood out. Right, Mr. Countryman? Did a great job. Next, I want to say just awesome job to our 5th graders. We had our etiquette dinner. Big thanks to St. John's Lutheran Church for hosting, the community members who came in to socialize and share a meal with our students, and just all the volunteers who cooked and cleaned and really just made it all possible. I want to thank Mrs. Turnbull for heading that up, and all of our 5th grade teachers for helping to plan and organize that. Our 8th graders returned from their Washington, D.C. trip late Saturday night. They left early Wednesday morning, and it just went really, really smoothly. They had a lot of fun. It was awesome to hear the chaperones and Mr. Klausing. I want to thank him a lot, but our kiddos got a lot of compliments throughout. There's a lot of schools that go to DC, and it was neat to hear a lot of the restaurants and the different sites and organizers and all that say how respectful our kiddos were. So great job to our 8th graders. Big thank you to John and Danelle Myers at the Hicksville Pharmacy. They donated a ton of water, which I don't know if any of you have ever been on that trip, but walking around Washington, D.C. for 3 or 4 days, you need all of that water. So big thanks to them. We're really excited. This Thursday and Friday, we have our Shark Tank activity here at the school. We have 18 different groups coming up with different products and presentations to pitch to our sharks this year. Special thanks to Mrs. Tier and Mrs. Wells and all of our 7th grade teachers for helping to plan and organize that. We're excited to see all the cool things that they've created and all the cool presentations. I want to congratulate our track members. They had a really great season, but I really want to highlight the GMC track meet. Our boys won the middle school, junior high GMC track meet this year. They beat second place Tenora by just 4.5 points, so it was a really exciting finish, and great job to our boys team. And then I also want to highlight Maya Haggerty from the girls team on winning the girls 100 and 200 meter dashes. And congratulations to McKenna Bergman for winning the high jump. She had a meet record of 5 feet and 2 inches. So big night for our track team, and just want to wish them congratulations on an awesome year. And then finally, just to kind of close things out, we got a lot of fun things planned over the next couple weeks. We have our middle school award day. It's next Thursday, the 29th. We have different park days for the different grade levels set up, pizza parties, other celebrations planned. Our 7th and 8th graders next Thursday are going to Defiance to the Putt Putt Fun Center. A big thank you to Denny and Cheryl Vetter and ARC Solutions for donating to make this activity possible. So a lot of fun things to close out our year. We've had a really successful school year for our middle schoolers. I know Mrs. Kaufman touched on the state test scores. We have a lot of test scores, so I'm not going to read all those results, but math and science for 5 through 8 are looking really, really good, and we're excited to see the ELA results come in sometime this week.
That was a lot, but I'm sorry. All right, for the high school, first off, I'd like to congratulate the House of Satia for winning this year's house competition. All of those students, grades 3 through 12, get to celebrate all day tomorrow at the annual celebration day. And thank you to our house leaders who are probably still working right now doing setup out in the field house and various locations. They've been working hard on planning a fun day for those kids. We're wrapping up our busiest month here in the high school, as well as it sounds like it was in the middle school. Our junior senior prom and post prom were both a huge success, and I think all the students really enjoyed themselves. I would like to give a shout out to the junior class advisors and post prom I guess like head or chair. That is Mandy Ridgway and Ashley Hammond, our 2 advisors, and then Brenda Mirzo headed up the post-prom volunteers. But thank you to all the parents who worked that night and putting on those events. The hard work and extensive planning is very evident, and I do thank them. Our seniors presented their senior projects on Wednesday, May 7th. The students did an outstanding job, and I want to give them a shout out for their efforts. Then I also want to thank all the judges who came in and gave of their time on that day to judge the presentations. We heard several comments and got emails from judges after that day was over, just stating how professional our students were and how much they were truly impressed. So well done to our seniors. We also honored our senior award winners that evening on May 8th. May 7th. Numerous scholarships were recognized that evening, totaling over $500,000, both local and then through their colleges and universities. So congratulations to all of our seniors for their accomplishments and awards. Mrs. Wyman, our counselor, also shared that our work release program through the ag classes continues to be a success, with this year's seniors earning over $120,000 collectively through that program. So that's exciting and kind of, just goes to show or continue to show the value of that program as that money stays here in the local community and the local economy. Tournament action for our spring sports is still underway. Our varsity softball team did end their season last week with a tough loss to Tenora on Thursday. Baseball will compete against Fairview this Friday, at 5 p.m. at Fairview. And track is competing at the district meet this Thursday and Saturday at Ayersville. Four County Senior Recognition Ceremony is tomorrow at 9 a.m. Mr. Countryman and Mrs. Wyman and myself will be going over there. The seniors here at Hicksville have their last day of school on Wednesday, which is when we will also celebrate the annual, or hold the annual senior cookout on Wednesday at lunch, followed by the traditional final walkthrough of the halls. Graduation practice then is this Friday from 8:30 to 11:30 in the morning, and then commencement will be Sunday, May 25th at 2 p.m. So I'll see you all there. And this Friday then is our testing incentive day. We started this last year for grades 9 through 11 as a way to celebrate all their hard work on the state test. So we've started to get some of our results back, still waiting on ELA like the middle school is, but you know, we want to reward all their hard work throughout the year, so they get the afternoon off in the field house, and several of our high school teachers are joining together to plan that afternoon. And then last day of school for all other grades is next Friday. In the high school, we will begin the day with our end of year academic awards in the high school gym, followed by a field day at the community park for the remainder of the day. And a reminder to students and families, laptops for both middle school and high school will be turned in for the summer next Thursday during the school day. So the day before our last student day. Students should plan on turning in their computers and chargers on Thursday. And Friday is a 2-hour early release for all students. That's all I got.
Thank you. Ange?
And I don't really have a report because everything would have been a repeat of what everybody said here. But I do want to say I'm just super proud of the scores we have received so far. And what we're doing here at Hicksville is working. And you can see it in all of our student scores. From students on IEPs all the way to our gifted students, they have excelled. So very proud.
Thank you. Eric, Fort County?
Aaron already covered the commencement tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. If you are over that way, they had their groundbreaking ceremony and the new construction has started, so go ahead and check that out if you're in the area. So.
Quick and easy. Keith?
Yep, briefly, excuse me, the ESC had their end of the year meeting and gave us some updates from the different departments, curriculum and special ed, nothing special to really note of it. And then they also talked about our fall admin retreat that they have that kicks off in the fall. And then another thing I wanted to just mention was that they are in the process of putting together a job description to hire an OBI instructor that would be able to then train people at lots of different districts, which would be a good thing to have because it's quite a process to be able to learn that and be a trainer, and that's not something that happens very often. So having someone that we could utilize with all the districts would be a great way to take advantage of that. So, and anyone that is interested in driving a school bus should let us know. It really is not as bad as you may think. It's actually kind of fun, and the kids are awesome. So we could use the help, and we are always in need of subs. And other than that, I'm just working on regular summer stuff that my stuff is already getting ready, you know, working for stuff for fall, so, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Keith. We're going to move on to minutes and financials, and I need a motion and a second.
I'll move.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Jen. The minutes from the regular board meeting on April 21st, 2025. Treasurer's consent agenda items. We have cash reconciliation as of April 30th, 2025. Financial statements for April 2025. Approve amended official certificate of estimated sources for fiscal year 2025 as presented. Total general fund resources of $19,347,445.42. And total resources for all funds of $24,399,620.58. Approve fiscal year 2025 permanent appropriations as presented. total general fund appropriations of $14,617,965.63, and total appropriations for all funds of $17,504,167.60. We also have then and now certificates for Community Memorial Hospital for a carpet machine, Grants Catering for prom dinner, and Strategic Management Solutions for E-rate consulting fees. We will authorize the treasurer to renew the current agreement with Sheikley Unicomp, as the district's workers' compensation managed care organization for an additional 2-year policy period effective July 1st, 2025, and approve fiscal year 2025 5-year forecast as presented. Cash balance as of June 30th, 2029, line 7.020, as $5,064,128. We have several donations, $1,000 from ACES Pride Boosters for band, $500 from an anonymous donor for the Carrickson Overmeyer Scholarship, $1,150 from Hicksville Athletic Boosters for baseball, $500 from Hicksville Athletic Boosters for Special Olympics, $207 from Drop Zone Pizza for the High School Principal Fund, $2,000 from Parker Hannafin for the Parker Hannafin Scholarship Fund, $3,000 from Parker Hannafin for the TV and Technology Upgrade Project in the Library Media Center, $600 from ARC Solutions for the Middle School Incentive Program, $50 from El Nopal for the High School Principal Fund, $72 from Sweets on the Streets for the High School Principal Fund. Questions or discussion? No?
Well, I will
Oh, yeah.
add some about the 5-year
We better
forecast.
listen to this one.
Your favorite. It was a little extra challenging this time from the standpoint that House Bill 96, which is the biennial budget, is still being worked on by our state legislators. It has passed through the House and is currently in the Senate. The figures I used for our unrestricted grants and aid, our state foundation monies, essentially was based off of what we know that's been passed by the House of Representatives. So one of the main keys to a couple of the main things with them is the House did approve the full phase-in, essentially, of the Fair School Funding Plan. However, they did not do anything with the base cost. And the base cost is huge without getting that moved. Essentially, for cost of living, inflationary factors, we will be stuck on 2022. Even when this thing rolls out for the next 2 years, we'd be stuck on our calendar 2022 figures. Another thing that could be extremely detrimental to school districts, not just ours, but throughout the entire state, is the House has a 30% cap. In other words, 30% of your annual revenues is the maximum amount of carryover balance you can have. We're above that. We are not largely above that, but we are a little over 35%. This year we would be scheduled to just take a little bit higher at the end of June 30th, 2025. So I've prepared this forecast with what I know through the House Bill 96 has been passed through the House, with the exception of the 30%. I would certainly hope that if that percentage, if there is a percentage is left in, that it's going to be higher than 30%. This affects a lot of school districts throughout the state of Ohio and would have some major impact on them. So I hope that when it does finally get approved, we're not looking at 30%, and it's not going to at least affect us here locally, at least not at this time. So the forecast I have presented is without the 30% cap. I have provided you a copy of one a little bit more like what it would look like if there is a 30% cap in place. And what would happen is we would either have to transfer money into such as a capital outlay fund or to someplace else, or the state will send a letter to our county auditor and informing the county auditor would have to take from our receipts property taxes. And currently it would be in excess of $500,000. So in order to be able to save the money we have, to be able to make use of the money we have, we'd have to look to do the transfer. And I've figured in the neighborhood of, this year would be $620,000. Next year would be, fiscal year 26 would be slightly more than that, or maybe around $630,000, and fiscal year 27 would be around $400,000. So you'd be talking in excess of $1.6 million that we would be essentially forced to pull out and move to somewhere else, or just flat out lose it. So that is what this other one, just to give you an idea of what that might look like. The line 5.01 is the transfer amount, and then 6.01 shows where the annual revenue expenditure comparison would be, and we would instantly start actually operating in the red this year.
So that's what I was going to ask about. So because the way we're set up now with our forecast without the 30% cap, our expenditures outpace our revenue by, it's like, what, the second or third year, which in general is okay because by the time we catch up to it, but it's always also helped that our cash balance has also carried over enough that our bottom line is still good. But if they're not letting us carry over as much, if our expenditures are weighing our revenues, that's not going to work quite as well. Right?
True, yeah. We, as the one that's presented that I'm asking you to approve, we'd have negative expenditures in years 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Just touching a little bit in the 4th year, quite a bit in year 5. And if we have to transfer money out to protect the dollars we have, we'd operate negatively, would be in the red in 25, 28, and 29, and on the borderline, actually in 26 and 27. So it's important that we protect our dollars, obviously. On the third page there in the middle of the page is a little bar graph, and that is days cash on hand. And the green is with the forecast that I'm presenting to you. The orange is the one if we have to address the 30% cap. So those are days cash. So 25 would go from 124 days to 106, 26, 144 to 109. And our carryover days is not, it actually, I feel that it's strong enough as long as we have what we have been continually doing, but it's not absurd. It's not, there's districts much, much higher than what we have as far as carryover balance. So 151 days example would be 5 months.
I mean, what kind of behavior are they trying to incentivize by penalizing us for being good fiscal stewards? How does that work?
I guess that would be a really good question for our legislators. I've got my opinions, but I think right now I will keep them to myself. I don't understand it. Districts have worked hard to be frugal with our monies, with our community's dollars. We worked hard to make sure that we spend our money wisely and also have somewhat of a cushion to protect ourselves from the ebb and flow of economic circumstances. And I've seen it in my career before. Money starts to get tight, balances drop rapidly, and if you don't have a cushion there, you're going to be set in a dangerous position. Also, if this goes through, probably would be in a position where we'd have to go back to the voters more often to get revenue, because essentially House Bill 96 is looking to take money away from us. And also in the forecast itself, the House's version is looking to basically end the fair school funding plan. And that's where you'll see the last couple of years revenue really starting to drop down. And on line 1.035 is our unrestricted or our foundation monies, reaching a high of just over 8 million in 2026, but declining in 27, a more substantial decrease in 28, and another substantial decrease in 29. And so there's where our negatives start coming in, because the state isn't going to fund us based on what they've provided, like what was necessary. And what happens too in 2026 will be a triennial update evaluations, and if that goes up, the state then looks at it and say, well, we're a richer district. You guys got higher valuation, you have more money, you don't need money from the state. Well, that's not true. One, obviously cost increase. And if the state, as we increase, we might increase so much, and if the state takes away more, let alone the fact that cost increased, we go backwards, and that's what shows up in the forecast. So hopefully by the time the state budget is approved, it's a little more favorable to public schools, which about 90% of all students in the state of Ohio go to public schools. The big increase you'll see on line 1.040, that's restricted grants and aid, and that's mostly in 2025 it's bumped up significantly. But that's primarily due to the DPIA funding, disadvantaged pupil impact aid. And that increased because we did go to free lunches district-wide, the CEP program. Right now, there's no indication that I'm aware of that the biennial budget's going to really drastically do anything or make changes to the DPIA program. There has been some stuff that I've heard from the federal standpoint that they may increase the levels in which you will be able to do the CEP program. If that does, we'd end up getting away from the CEP, and therefore we'd lose a lot of DPIA funding. So at the state level, it doesn't seem to be as much of a risk. At the federal level, I'm not sure what's might be happening there. But that's that big increase in that line item. And this line item assumes that we will continue to be able to do CEP, we'll continue to be able to get DPI money, and that will help to keep that line item strong.
So if they do the cap, what kind of time frame do we have to move things around before it goes into effect? Or
So I understand we'd need to move by June 30th, which is, Mr. Countryman and I had talked about, we can talk later, but possibly moving that meeting back in the month for multiple reasons. One of them would be to be able to give ourselves a better understanding maybe of what's going to happen at the state level and to prepare ourselves. But it's my understanding they'll look at it and see what were your figures as of June 30th. So.
Could we move it preemptively, then if it doesn't happen, just move everything back?
That's a good question. I think that's a possibility.
We talked about that today, too. Yeah.
I just want to make sure, either from a legal standpoint, that between now and then, that if we do that, we do have that flexibility. Is there any other questions arising out of, from anybody?
I saw that you increased the amount that we're moving out for the bus every year. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't anticipate it staying flat.
Right. Prices aren't going to go down. There was one other thing I asked a question about. As always, great report, good information.
All right,
Makes
thank
it
you.
easier to read.
Thank you.
I just love the graphs. That's the way
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can
well,
see
it's very
information more
visual, very
clearly.
nice on the
Well,
covers.
and then
I
the
understand the
little
numbers.
short description underneath is
Yeah,
too.
it's just enough.
Yeah, there's a little description generated by the system, and then below that, I like to add things that I feel would be more informational to you and better understanding of where we are as a district. One of the things that concerns me too about the House bill is the state has recently come out with financial indicator from the state of the auditor's office, financial health indicators. And if this House Bill 96 goes through and there's a 30% cap, that's going to negatively affect the financial health indicators. So it almost feels like we're being set up for failure, and that's pretty disappointing. Anything else?
It's unfortunate. I'm always glad that we have more staff for the kids, especially the social worker movement, and it's just frustrating that all of this is coming at the same time as us having to hire more people, because we all know that that's where a huge chunk of our funds go, and rightly so, but it's, well, that's all I'm going to say about that. It's frustrating. Any other questions or comments? Mike, thank you very much for the budget. It's very well organized. It almost made me enjoy reading it.
I have to check your temperature.
Literature's more my speed. Okay, we do need a roll call then, Mike.
Mr. Vetter?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
And Mrs. Mazur?
Yes, motion passes 5-0. We are going to move on to the employment of certified staff, and I need a motion and a second, please.
I'll move. I'll second.
Thank you, Galen. Thank you, Tyler. Issue a one-year limited contract to Jacqueline Siebeneller. Resignation from Maddie Stockman, 7th grader intervention specialist, effective June 2nd, 2025. Rescind 3-year limited contract issued on April 21st, 2025 for Jennifer Bennett, and issue a continuing contract to Jennifer Bennett. Supplemental contracts for extended days during the 25-26 school year to be served before and after the scheduled school year. Madeline Bragg, 5 days, Robin Chamberlain, 10 days, Nathan Farrell, 20 days, Paula Fry, 5 days, Jeff Haught, 10 days, Matt Hoffman, 25 days, Zach Kohlmeyer, 10 days, Paul Overmeyer, 10 days, Jeff Schaefer, 35 days, Kelly Van Horn, 10 days, and Amanda Wyman, 12 days. Janae Hoying for one-year limited contract for middle school intervention specialist for 25-26 school year, pending certification. Andrew Lawrence, a summer school instructor at $32.34 per hour. Sessions will be held from 8 a.m. to noon, beginning June 3rd, 2025, and ending on June 27th, 2025, excluding June 19th. One-year limited contract to Paul Overmeyer as classroom instructor with 15 years' experience at a master's degree for 2025-26 school year. This will be for 30% of a workday and shall be for the position of co-athletic director. Caitlin Bales as a certified substitute for the 24-25 school year. Updated certified substitute list provided monthly by the Service Center for the 25-26 school year. Certified substitutes for the 25-26 school year: Zanya Battershell, Gail Countryman, Michael Green, Caleb Horvath, Alexis Laguna, Allie Nelson, Heather Scott, Maddie Sterheim, Jackie Underwood, Catherine Bland, Danette Benar, Amy Haver, Melena Huffine, Kent Miller, Paul Overmeyer, Denny Siebenek, Elena Stuckey, Cecilia Waters, Paula Campbell, Ed Foster, Mike Headley, Reva Kimmer, J.R. Mendoza, Pam Payne, Cindy Sprin, and Nancy Swift. A non-renew of all certified supplemental contracts at the conclusion of the 24-25 school year or at the end of the activity. Middle school, high school certified staff as detention monitors for the 25-26 school year. Middle school, high school certified staff as pride teachers for the 25-26 school year. Middle school, high school certified staff as zero-hour teachers for the 25-26 school year. Missy Lee, and Brianna Kohler as kindergarten jumpstart camp instructors from August 11th to August 15th, 2025 at a rate of $32.34 per hour. Supplemental contracts for the 25-26 school year. Madeline Bragg, Elementary Student Council, Kirsten Kaufman, LPDC, Andrea Dill, District Mentor, Nathan Farrell, Land Lab Coordinator, Emily Fenzer, Hicksville Initiative House Leader, Chris Gagan, Hicksville Initiative House Leader, Andrew Gahagan, National Honor Society Club Advisor, Joy Geiger for the Hicksville Initiative House Leader, Foreign Language Club Advisor, and Co-Coronation Advisor, Elaine Gherkin for the Drama Club Advisor and High School Musical Director, Jeff Hott for the Co-Athletic Director and LPDC Committee Member, Matt Hoffman for LPDC Committee Member, Aaron Highlander as LPDC Committee Member, A.J. Klausing, Middle School Student Council Advisor, Zach Kohlmeyer, Extra Band and Pep Band in the winter, Kathy Laney for Academic Team Advisor, High School Yearbook Advisor, Newspaper Advisor, Paul Overmeyer for Co-Athletic Director, Emily Reese for Co-Science Club Advisor and District Mentor, Lisa Savage as District Mentor and District Mentor Coordinator, Joey Stevenson as Hicksville Initiative House Leader, Beth Stuckey as LPDC Committee Member, Heather Taylor as District Mentor, Bailey Tier as a District Mentor, Kelly Van Horn as LPDC Committee Member, Kristen Wendell, Extra Vocal Duties, Elementary Musical Director and Show Choir Director, Amber Zachrich as Co-Coordination Advisor, and Natalie Zachrich as both Co-Science Club Advisor and Archery Director. Roll call, please.
That is a lot. Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mr. Levy?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Vetter?
Yes.
And Mrs. Mazur?
Yes, motion passes 5-0.
You did say you liked literature.
I do, this doesn't qualify. It's all good. At least I'm literate, right? Okay. I do need a motion.
I'll move.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Thank you, Eric. Jen is the first, Eric is the second. Nolan Clark Methvin as certified substitute for the 25-26 school year. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Vetter?
Yes.
Mr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Abstain.
Mrs. Mazur?
Yes, motion passes 4-0 with one abstention. And I need another motion, please.
I'll move.
Thank you, Galen.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jen. Paige Levy as certified substitute for the 25-26 school year. Roll call, please.
Mr. Levy?
Abstain.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mr. Vetter?
Yes.
And Mrs. Mazur?
Yes, motion passes 4-0 with one abstention. Employment of classified staff. All right. I need a motion, please.
I'll move. I'll second.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Galen. Caitlin Bales as a classified substitute for the 24-25 school year. Jamie Laker as classified substitute for the 24-25 school year. Jared Riley as volunteer assistant boys basketball coach. Supplemental contracts for the 25-26 school year include Connie Klinker, FFA advisor, Tamara Chamul, 10 extended days. Morgan Bostatter, kindergarten jumpstart camp assistant, August 11th through the 15th at the rate of $15 per hour. Tamara Chamul, kindergarten jumpstart camp assistant from August 11th to the 15th at a rate of $15 an hour. Jen Bergman as both an elementary assistant musical director and a high school assistant musical director. Gabe Inkrad as co-archery assistant, Melissa Sanders as co-archery assistant, and Emily Kuhn as color guard advisor. Also, an updated classified substitute list provided monthly by the Educational Service Center for the 25-26 school year, and the classified substitutes for the 25-26 school year include Katie Grace Bland, Teresa Evans, Reva Kamer, Jamie Laker, Cindy Spren, Rick Straley, Caitlin White, Jake Bradbury, Randy Guilford, Elizabeth Knox, Allie Nelson, Maddie Sterheim, Nancy Swift, Gail Countryman, Elena Huffine, Alexis Laguna, Pam Payne, Elena Stuckey, Cecilia Waters. Roll call, please.
Mr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Vetter?
Yes.
And Mrs. Mazur?
Yes, motion passes 5-0. I need another motion, please.
I'll move.
Thank you,
I'll
Jen.
second.
Thank you, Eric. Paige Levy as classified substitute for the 25-26 school year. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Vetter?
Yes.
Mr. Levy?
Abstain.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
And Mrs. Mazur?
Yes, motion passes 4-0 with one abstention. And another motion, please.
I'll second.
All right, Tyler and Galen, thank you. Nolan Clark Methvin as a classified substitute for the 25-26 school year. Roll call, please.
Mr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Abstain.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Vetter?
Yes.
And Mrs. Mazur?
Yes, motion passes 4-0 with one abstention. It's always nice that we have so many community members involved in the educational world. Services and agreements, moving on. So a motion and a second, please.
I'll move.
Thank you,
I'll second.
Galen. Thank you, Jen. We have a service agreement with the Northwest Ohio Educational Service Center per Ohio Revised Code 3313.845. This agreement will begin July 1st, 2025, and shall be terminated on June 30th, 2026. The total projected cost is $739,402.26. We also, as discussed earlier, thanks to Mr. Schaefer's discussion, Corson Fire and Security purchase of security installation in the amount of $137,849.29, and of course, with $40,000 of that taken off through a grant. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Levy?
Yes.
Mr. Vetter?
Yes.
And Mrs. Mazur?
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Moving on to other business. Motion and a second, please.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Eric, and was that you, Tyler?
It was.
Thank you. So, resolution number 2025-08, resolution to rescind prior board actions and adopt special education model policies and procedures, 1.0 in 2025. 2025 list of graduates pending completion of all requirements, coaches and activity handbook for the 25-26 school year, athletic code for the 25-26 school year, the 2025-26 Hicksville athletic ticket prices, the high school volleyball to Ohio State team camp July 24th through July 27th of this year, high school basketball to the University of Findlay team camp June 12th through June 15th of this summer, and the superintendent to grant approval for teams involved in overnight state tournaments for fall, winter, and spring sporting events. Discussion.
Jen, this, we approved this policy back in April, and what it is, it's the policy that Ohio Department of Education puts out that are the model policies and procedures for special ed. There was language in it that is not, what does it say here, the language that was approved in April. They're rescinding that policy because that language has changed from what the Department of Education has now from that resolution to what they're proposing now for those model policies. So this is just approving the current policies that the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce are applying to special education policies. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Confusing, but
Yes, it was.
yeah. And you can have that back there. Thanks.
Any other discussion on these topics? All right, so roll call, please.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Whoops, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah,
That was the
that's
last
it.
one.
Yeah.
It's all good.
We'll start over.
Eric and Tyler.
Mr. Vetter?
Yes.
Mr. Levy?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
And Mrs. Mazur?
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Old business, anybody have anything they want to bring up for old business? Discussion, just what time do you want us at the grad ceremony? Typical, it's like 15 minutes. 1:30
Starts
to
at 2 o'clock,
1:45.
so 1:30, 1:45.
In between there.
In between there would be good.
Okay.
Good, Aaron?
Yeah, just move out my comments.
As always, where we get
Yep.
pretty flowers.
Long enough to get a flower on your shirt.
Yes, and greet people coming in, that's always fun. And we don't have any unannounced guests who wish to address the board.
Do we need to schedule a work session, or is that a later
That,
topic?
I thought we were going to do it the same time we did our regular meeting, only like either after or before it, because we were going to go maybe look at the facilities and stuff like that. Is that okay, or do you guys want a separate
I'm
day
open.
for that? Because I had just assumed we were going to tag it on to our regular, because it's a June meeting, they never last very long.
That's fine with me.
So,
Yeah, I just lump it all together. But
Yep.
okay, so we can meet here and do a meeting, our meeting, and then go out and do do a work session if it calls for us to
Looking
go
at
out and about.
the different properties and such.
And you guys got the list of 5 things from me today. I don't know if you want to narrow that down to 3. They are kind of broad topics, but the information that I got from you guys, that's how I kind of condensed it.
For the work session?
Yes.
I'm just going to throw out, I don't know that, I mean, I personally don't need to go out and look at the facilities again. I don't know that things have changed a lot.
The same, I don't have to see them again. I think we were all,
I just
we
feel
were all
like
there last year.
My hand.
every several years, you know, and especially when we have new board members, but I don't know every year.
So-
That's my personal opinion.
What I'm hearing from you guys is it's okay to meet here for our board meeting and then go into a work session immediately after.
That's fine. I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's what
Yeah.
we'll plan on. We are not going into executive session. At this point, I have our June meeting scheduled for the 16th of June, but did you guys want to think about?
We wanted to possibly look at moving that back a week. Our intentions are, like most years, not to have a July meeting if we can avoid it.
Right.
By moving it back a week, it gives us a little more time to see what might happen with the budget, number one, and then also if we have any last-minute things that need to be approved that can't wait till August, if we skip
Not be
July.
available after June 20th.
But we're looking at June.
So June 16th I would be good with, but you said if you moved it back a week.
Are you talking about making it earlier, like June 9th,
Later.
or later?
Later.
Okay, so that's clarification. And then, because to move it back to me means move it
Oh, sorry.
back a week.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's what I thought you meant. I'm like, how is that going to give us more time?
So you're not available the 26th is what you're saying, Jen?
You said the 26th? You said the 20th?
All right.
I'm leaving the
20th?
20th. I will be in Yellowstone, so I will not be back until after July 4th.
Link to Zoom?
No, definitely not in Yellowstone.
Oh, she was a team player.
Wow.
I mean, we
I
can
couldn't even
technically have a
career.
board meeting without a member, but it's not, especially if we're talking about, yeah. So what day are you leaving? The 20th?
June 20th, yep.
I don't have an issue coming back in for a special meeting if we need to, if we keep the meeting the same time and have to come back for a short 10-minute meeting a week later.
And at that time, you might have found out if you could move those monies. Prior.
Yeah, I'm might be getting squeezed a bit because I'm on vacation the whole first week of June. So to turn around and get what I need prepared by 16th, I mean, I can do it, but I think it's going to be tight.
Or later in the week if it's not a Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to do a Monday. It's summer, and I think most of our worlds are a little more flexible.
Wednesday or Thursday?
Thursday will be bad just because there's a 4-county meeting that night.
So
18th?
the 18th, will Wednesday the 18th work for everyone?
Hold on.
Because you travel.
Stand by, please, just for a second. Yeah. I'll be traveling. I'll be out of town the 18th and the 19th.
Well, maybe we should just leave it the 16th, Mike, and have ready what you have ready, and
Can we just actually
Well, and then
skip
if we
a
have-
June meeting and have one in early July?
Well, no, well,
Because the money
Oh,
is.
it's gonna be-
in appropriations, we're supposed to have appropriations updated,
by the
and
30th,
things
right.
happen, and the earlier in the month of June, that affects, we always have things pop up that had no idea was gonna pop up.
what if we move it back a week and Jen won't be here and hold the work session on till a different time?
Until a different time. Did you hear that suggestion from Keith? So just look at having it on the 23rd, even though Jen won't be here, and then have a work session later.
Or we can have 2 work sessions. You can have a work session anytime you want, as many times as you want. So we could do one without Jen and then recap what we talk about at the August meeting, if you want to do something like that.
So the proposal then is June 23rd. Yeah.
Knowing that Jen won't be here. And I say we could just keep the work session. And then in August, we can do another work session to recap what we
Everything that
covered.
we
And
went
then
over.
that'll bring Jen up to, that sound like a good plan?
So the same
you,
plan
Mike?
for August, regular board
Yeah.
meeting, and then followed by a work session. All right, so at this moment, we will adjourn. I need a motion for adjournment, actually. With Tyler and then Jen? Is that okay? All right. And then we are adjourning until the 23rd of June at 5:30, and that will be the regular board meeting followed by a work session. And roll call, please.
Mr. Levy?
Yes.
Mrs. Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Methvin?
Yes.
Mr. Vetter?
Yes.
And Mrs. Mazur?
Yes, motion passes 5-0, and it is 6:33.